Hi, I'm Emily, and I'm the Castle Girl. Today I'm at Castle Campbell. Castle Campbell is a ruined medieval tower house castle. It commands its position high on a hilltop at the head of Dollar Glen in the Ochil Hills, which is an area around 1.5 miles north of the small picturesque town of Dollar in the historic county of Clackmannan, which is around 14 miles northeast of Stirling in central Scotland. The castle sits prominently high, with stunning views overlooking the Forth Valley, with steep ravines on 3 of its sides. This may have been an earlier site of a motte and bailey structure dating from the 12th century. Castle Campbell was originally named Castle Gloom. Gloom in Gaelic simply means fissure or chasm on the land. The castle sits between 2 burns called Care and Sorrow that join as the Dollar Burn below the castle. The oblong tower we can see today was built around 1430 for the Lords of Lorne and originally named Castle Gloom, but by 1469 the first Earl of Argyll, Colin Campbell, had married the daughter of the Lord of Lorne, Isabel Stewart, and acquired the title Lord of Lorne. Colin Campbell was a master of King James III's household. He wanted a place nearby the Stuarts' court in the area surrounding Stirling Castle. He rose to the Lord High Chancellor of Scotland in 1483. Campbell rebelled against James III in favour of his son, who became James IV after his father died at the Battle of Sauchieburn in 1488. On request by Colin, James IV changed the name of Castle Gloom to Castle Campbell by an Act of Parliament in 1483. The castle began to be shaped into its present form thereafter. The enclosure was built in the 16th century, and a range of buildings around its south and east walls gave room for more accommodation by access to stairways in the courtyard. These buildings are similar in continental Renaissance style to the King's Old Building at Stirling. You can access the tower house and its upper levels, however there are only ruins left of the Great Hall and banqueting area. You can access the garden and the grounds beyond through a vaulted archway in the courtyard. The garden is enclosed by a low wall. In October 1529, Archibald Campbell became the 4th Earl of Argyll during the reign of King James V. James sent Archibald to the Scottish Isles to prevent a rebellion by the Lord of the Isles, although Alexander MacDonald of Dunveig convinced the king that Archibald was using the role to his own advantages on the Isles. After investigation, the king imprisoned Archibald and renounced his title. It was only after King James V died that Archibald regained his title by Cardinal Beaton. Beaton produced the will of James after he died and named Archibald as one of the councillors of the Scottish monarchy. Beaton also named himself as governor of the kingdom and guardian of James V's infant daughter, who was heir to the throne, Mary Stuart. The new Queen of Scotland was born 6 days after her father's death in 1542. During this time, Henry VIII of England was intent on arranging a marriage between his young son, Prince Edward, and the infant Mary, with which Archibald was one of many earls at the time to refute the arrangement, along with the Earl of Huntly, Earl of Moray, and Earl of Bothwell. Mary was sent to France to escape Henry's rough wooing in 1548, and there she married Francis, the Dauphin of France, in 1558. During this time, Archibald was drawn to John Knox and the religious Reformation. He became a leader of the Presbyterian Church of Scotland. John Knox visited Castle Campbell around 1556. Archibald Campbell, the 4th Earl of Argyll, died in 1558 and was succeeded by his son, also Archibald Campbell, as the 5th Earl. Mary Queen of Scots returned to Scotland in 1561 after the death of her young husband Francis. She stayed at Castle Campbell in January 1563 to attend the wedding of the 5th Earl's sister, Margaret Campbell, to James Stuart, a landowner who became the First Lord of Doon. Mary fell ill during the 3-day celebrations, along with her half-brother, also called James Stuart, who was the 1st Earl of Moray. In 1565, when Mary married Henry Stuart, Lord Darnley, who was also the heir to the earldom of Lennox, the Earl of Argyll distanced himself to the young queen and joined the rebellion known as the Chaseabout Raid, led by Mary's half-sibling, the Earl of Moray. She was, by this time, not welcome at Castle Campbell. The rebellion was in disapproval of Darnley, and through fear that Scotland would be ruled by a Catholic monarch during this time of religious reformation. This was not encouraged by the English Queen Elizabeth I, as she did not agree with Moray's revolt against his own queen. Argyll was connected to the Edinburgh murders of the Queen's secretary, David Rizzio, in 1566 at Holyrood Palace, along with Moray, and the murder of Henry, Lord Darnley, in February 1567 at Kirklefield. The Earl was astonished when Mary married James Hepburn, the Earl of Bothwell, the following May, as Bothwell was openly accused of murdering her husband, which led the public to believe that she too was involved in the atrocity. Along with Maury, Argyll joined the campaign objecting to Mary and Bothwell, although distanced himself to the plan of disposing of the Queen. Mary was imprisoned at Lochleven Castle until she escaped in 1568. Argyll led her army against the Earl of Lennox at the Battle of Langside. Although he lacked military skill and they were defeated, leaving Mary to flee to England for sanctuary from her cousin Queen Elizabeth I. In 1571, Argyll reconciled with Lennox after the Queen's abdication in favour of her young son James in order to restore stability in Scotland, and became Lord Chancellor of Scotland in 1572. Archibald Campbell, the 5th Earl of Argyll, died in September 1573. He had no living heir, therefore was succeeded by his half-brother Colin Campbell, who became the 6th Earl of Argyll. When Charles I was executed, the Campbells initially supported Charles II. In 1651, Argyll placed the crown on Charles' head at the Palace of Scone. Argyll, however, opposed to Charles' invasion of England in 1652, and he submitted to Oliver Cromwell's cause. In 1653, Cromwell's army was garrisoned at Castle Campbell. Over 2 nights, Royalists rebelled, attacked and burned Castle Campbell in July 1654. After the Restoration, in 1660, the Earl of Argyll was executed. His son, the 9th Earl, decided not to stay at Castle Campbell and built new residences near Stirling. The castle was also briefly garrisoned during the Jacobite uprising in 1715. After that, the castle was abandoned. The 6th Duke of Argyll sold it to Crawford Tate of Harveston in 1805. The Harveston estate gifted Dollar Glen to the National Trust of Scotland in 1948. The castle now is a scheduled ancient monument and is in the care of Historic Environment Scotland. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to visiting a castle near you. Bye!